Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Thursday. Happy Throwback Thursday to one and to all. Perhaps it is Friday, depending upon where you are on the globe. Welcome to the Lee's Morning Show. And again, as always, in opening, give yourselves a round of applause for making it to and through another day because each day is a blessing. Yes, indeed, it is. So, today's morning show is none other than Ian Roberts. Now, this gentleman has been the talk of the media and many content creators. I've been watching, and it came to my attention where it was observed and discovered that he may have been a registered voter in the state of Maryland. Those of you that follow me, you know that I hail from the state of Maryland, so that actually caught my eye. So, without further delay, let's get into this tale of a fraud. Who is Ian Roberts? Well, I'm going to look at Wikipedia, and I would suggest you do the same because, as I've mentioned, oftentimes what you may see is not always what you may get. So, good morning, and let's get into this crazy whirlwind of a story. Ian Andre Roberts, and from the research that I've done, I wonder if that's really his name. And they have educator in parentheses. Pardon me for laughing. Ian Andre Roberts is a retired athlete and former school administrator who was assistant superintendent for Des Moines Independent Community School District. Roberts ran for Guyana in the 2000 Olympics. Again, I don't know if that's true or not. It says it, so I'm just going to say it is for now. He was born in Georgetown, Guyana, and his sport was track and field. Okay? I'm going to start at the tippity top and go down to his early life and education. Again, Ian Roberts was born in Georgetown, Guyana. This is messing up already. His birth year is unclear. By the time I get finished with this, you're going to understand why a lot of things are unclear with this gentleman you see on the screen. These are official documents that he was born in 1970, or as my mother would say, 1970 in Guyana. But, but he was listed with a 1973 birth date in the 2000 Summer Olympics. So there's a problem already. In Houston, we have a problem already because Wikipedia seems like they might be a little bit confused as well. Again, once I get through this, and most of you may already be familiar with the story. My eyes are crossed. because information is still coming out. Entering the United States on a visitor visa in 1994, he played soccer at Brooklyn's St. Francis College. He attended Coppin State University in Baltimore, Maryland. Again, I reside in Maryland. And according to his early life and education, which can be found on Wikipedia, he received his bachelor's degree in 1998. In 2000, Roberts earned a master's degree from St. John's University, and he claimed on his resume and profile that he earned a second master's degree from McDonough's School of Business at Georgetown University. That's in Washington, D.C., ladies and gentlemen. And again, I'm part of the DMV, which encompasses the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia. But, and here's one of the hiccups, Georgetown stated that they had no record of his attendance. I'll repeat that for you, for those that are just getting up, those that might be preparing breakfast, those of you that are on the road getting ready for work, driving, those of you that just may be rolling over into your bed and just listening to programs. This is a doozy. Again, Georgetown stated they had no record of his attendance. Now, again, being human, certain things could be overlooked. So I'm not going to stick too much on that. Not right now. From 2002 to 2007, he attended a doctoral program at Morgan State University. Again, ladies and gentlemen, Morgan State University is a historically Black college and university, and it is where it is in Baltimore, Maryland. Again, I hail from Maryland, so again, this is really, really interesting to me. Without receiving a degree. So again, he attended a doctoral program at Morgan State University without receiving a degree. Later reporting cast doubt on the veracity of several of his claimed qualifications, including his assertion of attending an executive MBA program at where else? MIT, Sloan School of Management. Again, this too was denied by MIT. Now, let's go down to his athletic career. As a male middle distance runner from Guyana, Roberts specialized in the 800 meters dash. Roberts won his first international medal, a gold medal, in the 800 meters in the 1999 Central American and Caribbean Championships in athletics in Bridgetown, Barbados. Interesting. He completed the MEAC, Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, where he won several conference titles and placed seventh in the 800 meters at the NCAA Championships. Mr. Roberts has quite a resume. Reminds me of a couple of people on the internet. Wink, wink. Roberts went on to St. John's University, where he competed in the Big East Conference, winning several championships. He competed in the NCAA Finals in 1999. Which is unbelievable. After winning conference titles in both Division I conferences, Roberts competed internationally. He competed in the 1999 IAAF World Indoor Championships in Japan, but alas, failed to advance past the quarterfinals. He competed in the outdoor 1999 IAAF World Championships in Spain, but alas, he failed to advance past the quarterfinals. He competed in the 2000 Summer Olympics in Sydney, Australia, during which he came in next to last place. Well, at least he placed in a preliminary heat. In 2012, Roberts was the principal of Anacostia High School. Again, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, Anacostia is in Washington, D.C. It is in Ward 8, one of the most impoverished areas in Washington, D.C. A then all-black school in Washington, D.C. From 2018 to 2020, Roberts was Chief Schools Officer for Aspire Public Schools. From 2020 to 2023, Roberts was the superintendent of the Mill Creek Township School District in Mill Creek Township, Erie County, Pennsylvania. In July 2023, Roberts became the superintendent of Des Moines Independent Community School District in Des Moines, Iowa, a position he held. And this is where the story will begin to take a serious series of twists and turns. So buckle up and get ready for this ride. A position he held until his resignation on September the 30th, 2025. In his application, allegedly, and I must say allegedly, to be prudent and responsible, Roberts falsely claimed that he had earned a doctorate from where? Morgan State University. Again, ladies and gentlemen, that's in Baltimore, Maryland. During the hiring process, the school board uncovered this misrepresentation, but still decided to select him for the position. Hard stop. Now, during the hiring process, the school board, who in the school board uncovered this misrepresentation, but still decided to select him for the position. I wonder if that is part of this investigation. This is a story that, to me, has corruption, scandal, lack of transparency, and accountability. And a real possible threat to students. And you'll understand once I get into the real guts of this story. Again, this misrepresentation was uncovered, but they still decided to select him for the position. I would ask, did he know someone that knew someone that knew someone? Was there an exchange of money in the form of donations, contracts? Again, keep in mind, he was born in Guyana. Earmark that. Earlier in the month preceding his September 2025 arrest, Roberts was interviewed about the Reimaging Education Initiative, a ballot initiative for a bond measure to fund various program investments in the Des Moines Public Schools. See, I just mentioned something about associations, possibly. So let us go down a little bit further. And we'll look at some of his legal issues. In January 2022, Ian Roberts pled guilty and paid a fine of $100 and $94.42 in court costs for having a loaded weapon in his vehicle during a Pennsylvania deer hunting trip the previous month. On September the 26th, 2025, ICE reported that Roberts had been detained in Des Moines, Iowa, and stated that a final order of removal had been issued for Roberts' deportation in 2024. Okay, let's just put the car in reverse and read that again. On September the 26th, 2025, ICE reported that Roberts had been detained in Des Moines, Iowa, and stated that a final order of removal had been issued for Roberts' deportation back in May of 2024. Okay, so again, this is another slipping through the cracks. So first, it was discovered that he misrepresented himself in reference to earning a doctorate at Morgan State University. Even though the school board uncovered this misrepresentation, but they selected him for the position anyway. And then ICE said he was detained and there was a final order of removal for his deportation in 2024. Again, what happened? Roberts fled after identifying himself in a targeted enforcement stop. Then he abandoned his vehicle. At the time of his arrest, ICE said that he was found in possession of a loaded weapon, $3,000 in cash, and a fixed blade hunting weapon. A spokesperson for Roberts School District told the AP or the Associated Press following the arrest that they had no knowledge of the 2024 order of removal, and that Roberts had gone a comprehensive background check, not just a regular background check, but a comprehensive background check. He had completed his I-9 and was authorized to work. The school district voted to place Roberts on paid administrative leave as he was unable to perform his duties. Subsequently, let me get to that. The Iowa Board, the Iowa Board of Investigation, come on, down here. Subsequently, the Iowa Board of Investigation revoked, where is it? Revoked Roberts' administrative license, which caused the school district to be legally required to place him on unpaid leave, retroactive to the original leave decision. By September the 30th, 2025, the school district stated that they had received a copy of the order of removal. So they weren't aware of it. And then finally, again, September the 30th, the school district claimed that they had received a copy of the order of removal. Again, this order of removal supposedly was back in May of 2024. On September 30th, 2025, Roberts' attorney filed a request with the Federal Immigration Court in Omaha, Nebraska, asking for his deportation proceedings to be put on hold. Ian Roberts then resigned that same day, saying that he did not want to be a distraction to the district's education efforts. Well, Mr. Roberts, you have been absolutely a distraction. Also, on September 30th, 2025, the Des Moines Public School Board chairman read a statement into public record indicating that Roberts had provided a driver's license and a social security card as proof. Okay, a driver's license and social security card as proof of citizenship in his application of 2023. That statement also acknowledged that the school board had been contacted by ICE in the time since Roberts' arrest, with ICE notifying the board that Roberts was not, I repeat, was not eligible to work in the United States. According to the statement read by the DMPS chairperson, the school board attempted to provide Roberts with the opportunity to clarify the circumstances via a questionnaire. Wow. Communicated to Roberts' attorney. Roberts did not return the questionnaire. However, what he did was submitted his resignation letter, which his attorney conveyed to the DNPS board on October the 2nd, 2025. I told you this is full of twists and turns. I'll be putting up some things in a moment. Just wanted to get this background. Federal prosecutors filed a felony charge against Roberts of, again, hold on to your seats, illegal alien in possession of weapons. 18 USC section 922 G5. Roberts was also transferred to federal custody and appeared before a United States magistrate judge and the United States District Court for the Southern District of Iowa. Now, again, you can find that on Wikipedia. So, as I mentioned, Ian Roberts has been all over the news. And let us begin here. The arrest of the superintendent of Iowa's largest school district. Okay, earmark that because this is ongoing. And a lot of questions are being asked because he made a pretty penny in the upwards of 300,000. The arrest of the superintendent of Iowa's largest school district. So again, how is it possible with all of those red flags, and I'll get to that momentarily, that he was able to advance, to catapult, if you will, to the position of superintendent of Iowa's largest school district? This, according to ICE, has become a high-profile case involving a long-time school administrator who authorities say is not authorized to work in the United States and whose background has become under scrutiny. Again, Ian Roberts, 54 years old. Again, as I mentioned at the early part of the broadcast, there's some question about the date of birth and a lot of other things. Was the superintendent of Des Moines Public Schools for over 2 years before his resignation of September the 30th, days after his arrest. He had previously held leadership position in school districts in the United States for 2 decades. Again, how is that even possible? In the days since he was taken into custody, Roberts has been federally charged for alleged, again, to be prudent and responsible, I have to say alleged, and it's written here as well, weapons offenses, lawsuits, and state investigations that are being pursued over his hiring. Sound familiar? It should, because there are other people, backgrounds that seem to be skipped over. Possible one hand washing the other, or somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody. And we're going to look at how this mess has unfolded some of his past employment and criminal history and immigration proceedings. So again, let's look at Ian Roberts really quickly. Again, this educator. So we'll go back to 1996, where it's alleged that Roberts is charged in New York with narcotics possession and intent to sell narcotics, among other counts, according to Department of Homeland Security, which did not note what came of that case. I wonder why. 1998, the criminology major graduates from Coppin State University in Baltimore, according to the school. November 12, 1998, Roberts is charged with third-degree unauthorized use of a vehicle in New York City, which was dismissed the following year. Again, what's going on here? It was dismissed according to Department of Homeland Security. Roberts pursues a doctorate at Morgan State University. Again, I mentioned this earlier, in Baltimore. He did not ultimately earn a degree from the school, though while applying for the Des Moines superintendent position, he submitted a resume indicating that he had. So basically, he told a lie, an untruth, a tall tale. The discrepancy was flagged during a background check, and his resume was updated to note that he did not complete the dissertation required to earn a degree according to the school district. Yet and still, he slipped through the cracks. Fast forward to 2012, Roberts is convicted of reckless driving, unsafe operation, and speeding, where? My state, the state of Maryland. So you know I'm going to be looking at some records very soon. According to Department of Homeland Security, at the time, he had positions with new leaders for new schools in Baltimore and the District of Columbia. Washington, D.C. and Baltimore are probably 20, 30, 35 minutes, depending on traffic, not far at all. According to his LinkedIn profile. Again, has this been fabricated? Did he embellish on his LinkedIn profile? We will find out. Well, maybe. 2018, Ian Roberts files a green card application again in May and June, which are both denied. I repeat, they were both denied later that year, according to DHS. But the striking thing that just pops off this page to me, it just pops off, is they do not state why. This is disturbing and befuddling because there are certain people that are under the eye of Homeland Security. One being, I'm going to see if you all can guess. But if you can't, I'll make it easy for you. This is a high profile case as well. Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia. He is the Maryland man, a Salvadorian national that was wrongfully, and I say wrongfully because it was by mistake, admittedly by the government, the DOJ, to El Salvador. And that case has gone back and forth. And the government is trying fervently to have him deported out of the country. But somehow or another, Ian Roberts has slipped through the cracks. And Department of Homeland Security, they don't know why. And this isn't the first time. This is the second time they couldn't come up with an answer. In July, he applies for an adjustment of status based on his marriage. Again, this twists and turns to a U.S. citizen, but it is later denied in January 2020 because he failed to respond to a request for additional information according to a federal criminal complaint. In 2018, Roberts files for employment authorization documents with a U.S. CIS grants letter, according to the Department of Homeland Security. Before the authorization is set to expire, Robert files again for employment authorization grants several weeks later. Fast forward to 2000. Roberts files an application with the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services for employment authorization, which is approved in April and set to expire April 1st, 2001, according to Department of Homeland Security. So you see this background, how everything began. Here's where the main troubles began. 2020. Roberts faces multiple weapons charges, including criminal possession, which did not note the location of the filing or what came of the case. He is between jobs at this time, according to his LinkedIn profile. So again, we see this yet again. They're not, meaning DHS, not sure what became of that. Very strange. August 2020, Roberts began serving as the superintendent of Mill Creek Township School District in Erie, Pennsylvania, a position he holds for nearly 3 years. Roberts earns a master's degree in social studies from St. John's University, according to the Associated Press. September 2000, Robert competes in the 800 meters in the Sydney Olympics, representing Guyana. May 2001, Roberts files a green card application, which is rejected in January 2003, according to DHS, which did not state the reason why. August 2023, Roberts is served with a restraining order, according to the Sheriff's Department in Polk County, Iowa, which served notice of the order to Roberts at his office. The records are sealed. So the reason for the restraining order, which was issued by a court in Jackson County, Missouri, and the identity of the person requesting it are not public. Again, this is in August 2023. Again, what does this man have that he's just slipping and sliding through? May 22nd, 2024, an immigration judge in Dallas orders that Roberts be removed from the United States in a hearing he did not attend, according to Department of Homeland Security. So that is the removal order that I spoke about earlier on in the broadcast, that the Des Moines, Iowa district didn't know about. April 2025, an immigration judge in Dallas denies Roberts' motion to reopen immigration proceedings, finding that Roberts failed to demonstrate, as claimed in the motion, that he did not receive notice of the 2024 hearing, according to court filings. That's actually hard to believe because he's been dishonest about so many things. And then finally, September 26th, as you can see, law enforcement approached the vehicle and later found, after abandoning the vehicle near a wooded area, a loaded weapon, according to ICE. School district votes unanimously to put him on unpaid administrative leave and to provide proof that he is authorized to work in the United States or face termination. Again, Roberts' attorney files a motion in immigration court in Omaha, Nebraska, to stay the educator's order of removal According to the attorney, October the 2nd, 2025, Ian Roberts is arrested and charged by federal prosecutors in Iowa with one count of being an illegal alien in possession of weapons, according to court records, after authorities say weapons were found in his vehicle and home. October the 6th, the Mill Creek Township School District votes unanimously to authorize its council to explore possible legal action against Roberts and the executive search firm that vetted his candidacy for the position. The board will have to vote again before any legal action can be filed. So, there are a lot of questions, obviously. Who vetted him for all of these positions? Why is it that certain things were uncovered, including his misrepresentation way back at Morgan State, yet he was still given the green light? Why were there so many things that happened and DHS responded that they didn't know why? He is in federal custody at this time, but again, there are many, many, many red flags into Ian Roberts. He was called Dr. Roberts at one time, but according to reports and investigation, he never received his doctor's degree. Has anything on his resume really been proven? And how, again, was he able to slip through the cracks with all of these charges? How was he even able to be around school children? There was a report, and again, I implore you to do your research, that after his arrest, people protested. So it appears that he is generally liked by his students and by many, but unfortunately, he's been proven, or at least on the surface, as a major fraud. And I don't really like to use the word liar, but one who misrepresents themselves habitually, not being transparent. Those are all indicators of not having the trait needed in such positions, especially positions of leadership, of trust. Again, there are so many questions as to how Ian Roberts was able to slip through the cracks. Who is Ian Roberts? Was he born in 70 or 73? Did he really participate in the Olympics? Did he marry a United States citizen? Why has he been and still reluctant to answer certain questions as far as proof? If his resume, if anything in his resume has been accurate and true, why not provide the proof? Why just resign? This is, again, a high profile case, and I honestly believe that there are many others involved in this because there is no way with everything that dates back to early 90s he was able to skirt through by himself. It's impossible. Well, nothing's impossible, but I find it hard to believe that he was able to do this on his own, especially coming from Guyana. There had to be, or I believe there was assistance. So again, Ian Roberts, who has been in DC, Maryland, Iowa, Pennsylvania, Erie, Pennsylvania. I've seen Nebraska, Dallas. I mean, who knows where else he has been, and it hasn't come out just yet. I'm sure in the coming days, as the layers are peeled back in this unbelievable story of a alleged criminal alien that was found to have misrepresented himself at Morgan State University, found himself in the upper echelon, if you will, of school districts, the largest school district in Iowa, yet was subsequently arrested. Stay tuned, and again, thank you for tuning in. Enjoy your morning, afternoon, or evening. Until next video, bye-bye for now.